morning I had the honor of meeting with Alexey Navalny's wife and daughter. As to state the obvious, he was a man of incredible courage. And it's amazing how his wife and daughter are emulating that. And we're going to be announcing the sanctions against Putin, who is responsible for his death, tomorrow. And but one thing that was made clear to me is that Yolanda she's going to continue to fight and have underway. So we're not letting up.
It's important for us to remember that 2 years into Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, it is a strategic failure for Russia. Tomorrow we'll release hundreds of sanctions just here in the United States, but it's important to step back and remember that it's not just America taking these actions. You should expect to see sanctions and actions taken by countries that are part of our coalition as well, that are focused on accomplishing our two goals: making sure that Russia can't get access to the goods they need to build the weapons that they want, and also taking responsibility for slowing down Russia's access to the revenues they need to prop up their economy, but also to build the weapons that they want going forward. These sanctions will be targeted at the military industrialized complex in Russia, but also in third countries, those companies that help facilitate Russia's access to the goods that they want. We'll have more than 500 targets tomorrow overall that are just from the United States, but it's important for us to remember that it's not just the United States taking action. We know that Russia has grossly violated not only the human rights of the Ukrainian people, but also the human rights of Russians. This is ultimately why we have taken a number of actions, both with regard to sanctions, but also export controls during this conflict, but over the last several years and decades. Our goal ultimately is to put us in a position where we hold Russia accountable for the actions that they've taken. And that's exactly what we're going to continue to do.
Iran's deepening military partnership with Russia, which is, of course, not only harmful to Ukraine, but also to Iran's neighbors in the region and to the international community. Iran has been providing Russia with significant numbers of drones, guided aerial bombs, and artillery ammunition, which Russia has been using to some effect to attack Ukraine. In addition, and as I warned last month from the White House podium, Russian negotiations to acquire close-range ballistic missiles from Iran have been actively advancing. If Iran proceeds with this provision of ballistic missiles, I can assure you that the response from the international community will be swift and it will be severe. For our part, we will take this matter to the UN Security Council. We will implement additional sanctions against Iran, and we will coordinate further response options with our allies and partners in Europe and elsewhere. We have demonstrated our ability to take action in response to the military partnership between Russia and Iran in the past. We will do so in the future. In response to Iran's ongoing support for Russia's brutal war, we will be imposing additional sanctions on Iran in the coming days, and we are prepared to go further if Iran sells ballistic missiles to Russia. It comes at a time without new security assistance deliveries from the United States, when Ukrainian forces are rationing out their bullets and artillery shells, and when they are having to make difficult decisions on the battlefield just about holding on to key terrain. Consider what Ukraine is up against. Russia is receiving arms and ammunition from Iran and North Korea. We also remain concerned about the support that PRC companies are providing to the Russian defense industrial base. Meanwhile, the U.S. House of Representatives is leaving Ukraine to fend for themselves. Do not think for a moment that Vladimir Putin isn't capitalizing on all of this. Yep, he's been deepening his relationship with Iran now for many months, but the potential pursuit of ballistic missiles with the range and destructive power that they could bring is further evidence that he believes Congress will not act. He clearly believes now is his best chance to bring Ukraine to its knees, that now is the time to strike deeper behind their lines, destroying military bases and military units and their defense industry. He's counting on the West giving up and on Ukraine being left to fend for itself, and the regime in Tehran is only too happy to oblige. So the question for Congress is, what are we willing to oblige? Are House Republicans willing to see Ukraine fall to Russia? Are House Republicans willing to stand aside while Iran deepens its partnership with Russia and actively participates in the killing of Ukrainians and the further destruction of that country? Are House Republicans willing to hand Putin and the supreme leaders such a victory? Because that's what this comes down to. You can't say that you believe in American leadership and American strength and American national defense and then embolden two leaders who are actively working to undermine those things. We need the supplemental bill passed now. With each passing day, the Ukrainian front lines are growing thinner, and our own national security is increasingly being threatened. Iran stands with Russia. We need to stand with Ukraine. And let's be clear, Iran is not helping Russia for free. In return for Iran's support, Russia has been offering Tehran unprecedented defense cooperation. So in total, Iran is seeking billions of dollars worth of military equipment from Russia. This will increase the threat posed by Iran, not only to the United States, but to our partners throughout the Middle East region.
Global sanctions, the oil price cap, the export controls that we've put in place have weakened Russia's war machine, and these restrictions will get significantly tighter in the coming days as we and our partners announce massive new sanctions packages designed, among other things, to strangle Russia's effort at sanctions evasion. Vladimir Putin, in addition to planning anti-satellite weapons in space and bearing responsibility for the death of his most popular opponent, Alexei Navalny, thinks he can wait Ukraine out, and he thinks he can wait out all of us. We need to prove him wrong. With the $60 billion supplemental that the administration has requested of Congress, we can ensure that Ukraine not only survives, but she thrives. With this support, in 2024, we can help ensure Ukraine can continue to fight, to build, to recover, and to reform. With this money, Ukraine will be able to fight back in the east, but it will also be able to accelerate the asymmetric warfare that has been most effective on the battlefield. And as I said in Kyiv 3 weeks ago, this supplemental funding will ensure Putin faces some nasty surprises on the battlefield this year. His most vocal and effective critic, first by poisoning him, then by locking him up, then by sending him to the Arctic. So there should be no mistake about that. We will have a crushing new package of sanctions, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them in the next couple days. I'm going to wait and let the White House announce them. Some of them will be targeted at folks directly involved in Navalny's death. The vast majority of them, though, are designed to further attrit Putin's war machine, to close gaps in the sanctions regime that he has been able to evade. But I anticipate that as time goes on, we will be able to put forward more and more sanctions on folks directly responsible for Navalny's death.
We ask implement this sanction as on economical issues, in economical spheres, so and in political spheres on the personalities which are personally involved in the aggression of Russia and in this in killings of people. So death of Mr. Navalny is one of the killings among all dozens of thousands Russians which now are dying in Ukraine. And from my point of view, this is payment for the next elections, so named elections of Putin in Russia.
Ukraine today could be East Asia tomorrow. And in an interview with Japanese media that